One lesson I learned from working with customers, and I'm still learning that, and you guys might say, oh, we already knew that, but some women need to hear it because you guys are anxious. The wall is an urban legend. It does not exist. I actually did not know what the hell the wall was before I started posting on TikTok 1 year ago. When you work with customers, and let me know if you work in like nail, beauty, any kind of industry like that, you see older women getting married and successfully dating all the time.
The wall absolutely exists. Guys, you have women like this who jump on the internet. They are getting to be 30 years of age and above, and they will do anything to deny reality. The fact is, so many of these women cry and complain because men won't date them anymore, or men won't take them seriously now that they're in their 30s. And that's because the successful men, the guys who are highly attractive, these guys are only looking at 20-year-olds. It's very funny to me, guys, how you have these women jump on the internet and deny the fact that the wall exists. Now, guys, if you don't know what the wall is, before we even jump into today's episode, I'm going to be covering this article later on. But this right here is essentially the wall. This is the age range of which men prefer in their romantic partners. And as you can see, it even resembles a wall here. As a man goes from 20 to 50, there is no deviation that a man prefers in age that is above 24. It pretty much looks like a wall. But apparently the wall isn't reality, guys, and that's what we're going to be talking about here on today's episode with a video from Men Alert. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the pinned comment, so make sure you go and check him out. But let's take a listen at what some of these women have to tell us about the wall. So let's jump in. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
The one lesson I learned from working with customers, and I'm still learning that, and you guys might say, oh, we already knew that, but some women need to hear it because you guys are anxious. The wall is an urban legend.
I just love the confidence with which that we lie to other women, right? Don't worry, you can still get married in your 30s. You can still get married in your 40s. Everything's going to be totally fine. But what so many of these women realize is that they can't get the same type of man that they could have gotten in their 20s. At the age 30, right, it's a bit of a ticking time bomb for women. A lot of them can't have kids over a certain age. I believe 35 is considered a geriatric pregnancy. But hey, tell women more about how much time they have to get married.
It does not exist. I actually did not know what the hell the wall was before I started posting on TikTok 1 year ago. When you work with customers, and let me know if you work in like nail, beauty, any kind of industry like that, you see older women getting married and successfully dating all the time. Women that are taken care of, they know what to do with their body type, and they have this feminine energy, this fun, lighthearted, they love life. They never have shortage of younger men wanting to date them their age, older men. I'm sure for older men that are kind, that are decent, it's the same way. But
okay, so let's pause it here, guys, because this woman is right. Women can get a dude at any age. From the moment they're 18, they could go out there, they could have relationships. It is very, very easy for women. The question is, what type of man are you getting? Because the fact of the matter is, if you're dating a dude over the age of 30 and he marries you, he got the short end of the stick. Okay? Because if a woman is not in a long-term relationship by the time she's 30, it begs the question, what the hell has she been doing this entire time? And don't tell me it's celibacy, because it isn't. So the dude is getting the short end of the stick, and typically that's because that man doesn't have a lot of options. This is not the man that you wanted when you were in your 20s. In fact, so many of these women, they get to 30, 35, they really need to marry a guy and have some kids because they're running out of time. They do that, and then they divorce the guy because they never liked him in the first place. They try and take his money, they try and take his assets, they try and take the kids, things like this. We all know it, guys. We've seen it before. They date the bad boys and the attractive men in their 20s, and then they go out and they try and get a provider in their 30s. And don't get it twisted, you can, but you're not what you were when you were 22 years old.
But see how I'm not hating on older men. But every time I give like Slavic woman advice, completely normal advice of not accepting 50-50, only accepting high value dates, I get the wall comments. And I had to look that up. And then I'm like, oh, you're talking about attention. My attention decreased right now versus when I was 22. So this is me at 21, 22. If you're hating, you have to be realistically hating. Like, you cannot just be hating out of your ass, if you know what I mean. And also notice how my whole life I look older than my age. So if the wall was real, I wouldn't be popular to start with because I already look old. So yeah, don't be chronically online is what I'm trying to say. As a woman, as a man, I'm not even talking like you're that full of hate. Literally, you're motherless. I don't know, go fix your relationship, go seek therapy, or I don't know, become gay.
I love this argument. Is if you think that the wall exists, guys, if you're a man watching this and you think that women over the age of 30, for example, are lesser attractive than a 23-year-old, then apparently that means you're hateful, you don't like women, and you don't love your mother, apparently. Right? Notice, guys, all of the shaming language comes out. And again, I'm going to cover this later in today's episode. But this woman is trying to deny reality, and this is what the reality looks like. So let's go through some of the ages here. So this is the age at which men prefer their women, so to speak, right? A man who is age 20 prefers a woman who's 20. A man who's 21 prefers a woman who's 20. Now let's go all the way down to 45, which is the maximum, their maximum age deviation from 20 we have here. If a man is 45 years of age, the max ideal age for him is 24 in terms of what he finds attractive. Guys, it even looks like a wall. Look at this, it's straight. Now, if you compare this to women, which we'll get into again later today, guys, women don't understand this and they don't like reality because this is what theirs look like. Typically, they like a dude who's a couple of years older than them, but as they get older, they will date younger dudes. Right? This is because as they go into their 30s, you're looking for the provider guy, that guy who's they just like dudes who are a bit older, more experienced, whatever the case may be. But guys, if you believe in reality, then apparently that just means that you don't like women and you don't have a mother. Very interesting argument here. Now let's continue into some more of these women that we have here today.
But if you're a woman, you don't have to worry. Just trust me.
My absolute fucking favourite thing in the world is when I hear a man be like, oh, women live life on easy mode. All you have to do is exist and you get nice dinners and trips away and Louis Vuitton handbags.
With that attitude, you might not be getting the Louis Vuitton bags, but the rest of it is pretty agreeable.
My guy, I went in today to a salon and I had my face electrocuted. I had my face repeatedly electrocuted on purpose. I paid to do that, to look nice.
Sounds like a skill issue. It's a shame these women can put all this money into looking nice, but they can't actually be nice. I just find that so weird to me, guys, is women will put so much effort into maximizing their appearance. You know, from a young age, they'll be applying makeup. They'll get a phone when they're really young. They put filters over themselves. So they wear all sorts of things to make themselves look better. They fake a lot of things about their appearance, guys. And then, but they refuse to have a good personality. They're incredibly masculine. And this is the problem, because what'll happen is you'll have this woman and she'll be age 30, 35. And the problem is when you get to this age, looks start to decline and you have nothing else to offer men, right? So you may have gotten a lot of bedroom fun, you may be struggling for a relationship, but when you push into your 30s, it's just going to get worse and worse because men they can't keep you around for long periods of time because you're a pain to deal with. You see what I'm saying? They won't put up with you just because of the way you put on makeup or all of these extra things you do to change your appearance.
That's what I did. What did you do today? Did you have a shower? Did you put on some cologne? It's not easy being a woman. It's actually a lot of the time quite expensive and quite painful. So the fact that you can buy me a non-alcoholic margarita, I think it's deserved, actually. It takes me hours to get ready to put the face on. And you just maybe put on some dress pants and a funky sock.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Men are paying for you and they should feel glad to pay for you because you put a lot of money into your appearance. You know, my question here is, why don't we just skip the steps and why don't men just pay you? We can just call it for what it is, essentially, right? I wasn't aware that men were supposed to pay women because they put on makeup. It's just a very weird thing to me. If you're going to do this, hey, just go ahead and be a night worker, I think. Cut the steps out, not that there were any, and just call it for what it is. It's very disgusting to me, man, how so many of these women, they feel so entitled to a man's things because they put effort or money into their appearance. And again, lots of men, this might be surprising for this woman to know, but lots of dudes actually don't want a woman who has to put hours into her face. You guys see what I'm saying? how insane this is, right? Like every guy, maybe a man wants a woman who's naturally beautiful and doesn't have to put a whole bunch of chemicals onto her skin every day so that she looks halfway decent. Right? Very interesting stuff here, but let's continue on to the next clip. And I think these clips get worse as we go. Let's continue.
Partners to red pill content, because I want to know what happened.
Right here, I lost one of the loves of my life. One of my best friends, had known him over 20 years since before we were born, to red pill content, and I want to talk about it.
First of all, your relationship was already doomed if you considered this guy a best friend, but carry on.
Today, I do think it's important to educate people and keep them aware of this. Well, it was like 5-10 year long process, so strap in. And I think one of the hardest parts wasn't accepting losing him, but having to accept that like this person, these ideologies were inside him the whole time. So his name was Jared. We grew up on streets near each other, and our families knew each other before we were born because we were all homeschooled. So obviously when we were little, I had a big old crush on him because he was the only boy my age I had ever spoken to, but he had no interest in me because he was a little kid. So for a lot of the middle years, he goes back into school. We don't talk. He's in the grade above me. But once we get into high school, we actually reconnect somehow, and I forget how, but I'm a total nerd in high school, and he is like a hockey jock. But he was always a really sweet kid. So for a while, I believed him when he swore his hockey friends must have stolen his phone in the locker room and sent this message to me on Snapchat that said, "Why don't you make yourself useful and send over a pic?"
You guys, whenever I hear these women ranting in their cars and they tell you these stories that may or may not be true, I already know why they're divorced. Because they're annoying, right? Or because why they don't have a relationship. It's because they're yelling at me in a TikTok video, man. I want you guys to really pay attention to this, guys. The women that have the most horrible dating woes and horrible stories, they have these TikTok accounts and they're just yelling at you the entire time. Of course, your relationship went south. Number one, you thought he was a best friend in the first place. But number two, I feel like you're nagging me and I don't even know this woman. A man wants peace in his life. They don't want headaches. They don't want yelling. They don't want a second boss. They don't want arguments. Really not that difficult to understand.
And when I was like, this is really random, like, this doesn't seem like even your verbiage, what's going on, dude? They blocked me on everything on his phone. So we didn't talk for several years after that. And I found it a little bit weird that, like, we were talking every single day and you didn't even think to look me up and notice I wasn't even in your phone anymore.
Again, calling this guy dude. What's next? Are we going to start calling him bro? It's clear to me why these relationships don't work out.
But anyways, he gets dumped by a girl who absolutely shatters his heart on college, and we actually reconnect because we match on Tinder. And at this point, he is emo, right? He has all the bracelets. He listens to heavy metal. He is very atheist. He has a lot of Satan stars and whatnot. He is the furthest point in the universe from the typical red pill boy. So when he's back in town, we actually go on some dates, and he gets really sick. So I bring him over some soup and like cookies that my grandma, who I was living with at the time, homemade. And we have some really cute, cuddling, watching TV, nothing else sort of dates. And it was just like old times. And then after that, he actually kind of rejects me by ghosting me a little bit, but he wants to remain friends. And I'm fine with that because we were friends our whole life.
Right. So this man wasn't, it sounds to me like he wasn't interested in pursuing anything romantic with you at all. He wasn't interested in having a relationship. Guys, this is how we end up with half of these TikTok videos, by the way. These women come out with these wild stories about how this man's awful and he's been radicalized, whatever the case may be. Oh, he's a Christian, oh no, type thing. They come out with these stories that paint the man being in a very bad light. But if you look at the root of it, the man usually just rejects the woman, and that's why she's pissed off about it. I see a lot of videos where women will be like, dangerous, men can't handle rejection. Guys, if you ever reject one of these modern women, holy hell, be prepared to be yelled at. Be prepared for TikTok videos to be made about you. Now, not every woman is going to do this, obviously, but there are certainly a lot of women who just cannot take rejection whatsoever.
And the more I get to know about him in that point, the more I realize it's probably for the best, because he's in a lot of therapy at that point, which is very important, because he has such bad anxiety and depression and things like that, that he can't even leave his home to go out in public. And also, he's still obsessed with this girl who has blocked him on everything, and he won't tell me why.
This girl's a genius, man. She's just chasing this dude who is on Tinder, who has a bunch of atheist symbols and Satan symbols and whatever the case may be. She decides now's a good time to end up in his bedroom. Fails to get a relationship out of him. He won't leave the house, which is probably something he tells her so that he doesn't have to see her on a date. Women just have the best pickers in men, don't they, guys? They really do. Oh, this man's totally awful. He's terrible. And matched with him on Tinder, and all of the red flags were there in the beginning. But let's hear more about the red flags, because as far as I understand, they're going to turn to green. Let's take a listen.
But one day he says he found her address and he wants to write her a letter because he thinks it'll be super duper romantic and win her back. He had this tendency to do that, right? Like romanticize all of his actions when from the outside, this girl has blocked you on everything. She has told you not to contact her, and now you're tracking down her address. And I tried to explain to him that that's kind of terrifying behavior, but I don't think he listened to me. I do think he sent the letter, and I don't think anything ever came of it.
Of course, it never comes of it, guys. Women don't like romance. They don't like to be pursued in the year 2024. This is what women will always tell dudes, even modern day. And send the flowers, show her you're thinking about her, give her romance, send her a love letter. The fact of the matter is that chivalrous behavior, romantic behavior in the current year just makes you look like a freak to most women. They don't appreciate it, they don't want it, and there's no point, right? This is why chivalry is basically dead, guys, is because women don't appreciate it anymore. Now, I don't think this guy should ever be chasing a woman who has rejected him. I think men should have more self-respect than that, but hey. Let's continue.
But at this point, he decides he needs to completely change his life. I think his therapist suggested getting into working out, which is the beginning of the slippery slope. So
guys, Lord forbid a man start working out. He starts recognizing that chivalry is not something that benefits him. Hell, maybe he even converts to Christianity or is at least softened to the idea. So this man went from mental illness, chasing women and getting rejected, to working on himself and not being an atheist anymore. You guys, I don't really get political on this channel, but I don't see any issues here. I think he's on the up and up. Guys, I would encourage you, go to the gym, work on yourself, and don't go out here romancing women who don't deserve it, and you're going a long way. That's a great improvement to me.
Again, he's still in college, living mostly in his parents' basement. He's spending thousands of dollars now on gym equipment and getting really into working out. And watching male motivational videos, to which I believe around this time too, he decides that he doesn't need to go to therapy anymore. And I was like, no, you still can't really leave your home, dude, and you have a lot of issues. Like,
I just love this, right? Man feels well, communicates his feelings, women invalidates his feelings, tells him what he needs to do, apparently. Interesting to me. Again, I think this man doesn't want to leave the house because he doesn't want to go on a date with her, because she's out here calling him dude still, by the way.
We definitely are not done with that. But again, he thinks that after a short period of time, he's just completed therapy. And around this time, a couple of his friends ask how we reconnected too, because it's a question to ask. And I jokingly, we went on a couple dates and Jared rejected me, and he insists that never happened. Like, he refuses to, like, denies it to his core that he ever rejected me. I was like,
He's probably denying the fact that he took you out on dates too.
it's fine. It's funny, and I'm fine with it. But anyways, we're seeing other people. We're just friends. And around this time is when I met Basement Eric, the one who SA'd me and tried to kidnap me and keep me locked in his basement, right? So that causes a lot of damage.
Guys, women like this are just not worth being around men. Have you guys ever noticed there are certain people in life who just everything bad happens to them? Everything is somebody else's fault. They've always got these wild stories to tell you about how awful they were treated and whatever. Complete waste of time to be around, guys, because next thing you'll be the one accused of doing something. I don't like people like this, guys. I don't trust them. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to talk to them. I saw a clip the other day. I think it was of Ninja saying that he didn't want to be in a room alone with women at all because he was concerned about allegations. And I see people like this, and I just totally understand where he's coming from. I'm just like, yep, that makes perfect sense to me. I don't want to be around people like this who their entire life is chaos, because eventually something bad's going to happen to you as well.
And my brain doesn't trust me to be around boys anymore. So eventually I have to explain to Jared why I'm always sitting on the opposite side of the room or not really seeing him anymore. And he decides again in his brain, which he has made himself out to be a good person in this scenario and coming from a good place, that he can fix me actually. You just didn't get hugged enough as a child and you aren't shown the proper amount of affection. So he starts forcing me to cuddle with him and hug him even when I tell him no and to stop. And from all the working out, he's becoming a very large man that I can't fight anymore, and so it's starting to get scary when he doesn't listen to me. And he also starts making this frequent joke that we need to go out on like normal friend dates because like I just deserve to be loved and shown love. Which again, I believe came from a good place, but I was like, no, like, I've been on real dates. Like, I've been on fine dates, it's fine. I've been on a good date before. Like, love you, dude, but you also still refuse to leave your home to go to most places, so...
This woman is a psycho. I don't have anything else really here, guys, other than to say that this woman is downright terrifying. Holy hell, she yaps for a bit. There's a few more minutes in here, but we might leave this woman where she's at. Sorry, madam, don't buy your story. Don't believe anything. Come to me with a court charge, and then we'll talk about reality. There are too many videos, guys, of women just out here accusing men of crap, and I deny them all. I don't listen to them until I see evidence, until I see proof, until I see something that corroborates your story. I don't believe you. I don't believe in believe all women. I don't believe in believe all people. If you don't have evidence, I'm not really interested in it when you start to bring out serious claims such as these. But guys, let's continue into this article, which I wanted to show to you today. We got a little bit derailed here today by that crazy woman. We're going to be talking about the wall. So check this out. This is an article here, and it says, charts. Guys like women in their early 20s, regardless of how old they get. It's a common cliche that older men chase much younger women, but charts from the book Dataclysm, or Dataclysm, whatever, provide real evidence that men at every age are consistently most attracted to women in their early 20s. Now, this is something that a lot of women who are older, they want to hear that you're beautiful all the time, and you can find your Prince Charming when you're 55 and you're ready to settle down, then everything's going to be totally fine. But that's not the case at all. Most dudes are attracted to women who are in their early 20s. Dataclysm author and OkCupid co-founder, wow, this person co-founded OkCupid as well, uses numbers from the dating site to show how women and men differ in the ages of the people that they are attracted to. Guys, this is quite hard to argue with when the individual who made this is pulling data from a very large dating application. I can't remember if this is an application or a website, but I'm pretty sure Cupid is quite a large fancy leading up type of thing. So the data is actually pulled from this. So it says men, regardless of their age, tend to say women in their early 20s look the best, while women are most attracted to men their own age. And of course, we have this graph here, which I showed you earlier, guys, that looks like a straight wall, right? And this is, I believe anyway, I don't know if this is the case, but I believe this is why it's called the wall, is because it quite literally looks like a wall. This is a man's age versus the age of women who look best to him. Now let's continue on to the women's, guys. And what you'll notice is that women from the age of 20 to 31, they always prefer a dude who's either their own age or older. This is because they chase dudes who have more experience than them, who have been around the block, who understand how things work. They're attracted to experience and dudes who are a little bit older than them. Now, after they've had it with the bad boys, guys, now they want a provider, right? They want that nice guy who's going to sweep in and look after them. So they need a man who's going to, they can manipulate a little bit better. So now we switch to dudes who are a little bit younger and who perhaps don't really know what's going on. And this is the area right here, guys, which is the dangerous area for men. Because when you date a woman who's over the age of 30, she's done with the bad boys, right? She's done with the dudes who are a little bit older than her, who are fun, who had the tattoos. And now she wants a guy who's a provider, right? So she's going to date a guy who's a little bit younger or her own age. And this is a man who she can typically manipulate because these guys typically didn't get attention from women, right? These are the guys who are completely overlooked, treated like crap, dismissed, right? Never got a reply on a dating application. And now women go back to these dudes. Whoops, wrong screen there. Women go back to these dudes and they try and get provided for from them, right? So let's continue here. To make these charts, Rudder looked at the preferences of Cupid users. As you can see, a woman's taste in men typically evolves as she ages, while a man's taste in women stays the same no matter how old he gets. Wow, crazy. There's another layer to this data. Although men at every age seem to be attracted to very young women, they often message women who are closer to their own age. And do you know why this is the case, guys? I'm speculating here, but I believe this to be the case. The reason why men often message women who are closer to their own age is because women are the ones who select the men. The men are just getting selected by women who are closer to their own age. Men are not the ones with thousands of options when they go on these dating applications, guys. Most men have zero options whatsoever. So it says here, although men at every age seem to be attracted to very young women, they often most message women who are closer to their own age. Women message the dudes that they're attracted to, right? So they're going to, this is what they're talking about here, guys. All of the women who are 31 to, I want to say 40 here, they're messaging the dudes who are closer to their age. right? They're trying to flip it here a little bit. But at the end of the day, women are the ones who have the most ridiculous amount of options. The age range of women and say they're most interested in tends to fall within their own age range. As you can see, it moves on over time. But I just wanted to show that before we wrap up today's episode, guys. For the women who deny the wall, they deny that reality exists, and they think that they're going to get married at 35 years of age, which is certainly doable, but it's not going to be the man that she is most attracted to or the type of man that she could get when she was in her early 20s. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. So as always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. Don't forget to go and check out Men Alert. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.